So Tna Impact took place once again in Orlando, Florida. The show starts with Dixie Carter coming to the ring. Dixie says that she has hired a senior flunky, adding that she hired him because he's British. She introduces Rockstar Spud, and he comes to the ring. He basically says that he's going to be Dixie's spy and report everything he sees and hears from the locker room to her. Dixie says that the Wheel of Dixie was spun earlier and the stipulations for the world title tournament have been determined. She says that Kurt Angle and Magnus will meet in a last man standing match, while Robert Roode and Jeff Hardy will face each other in a tables match. Dixie says that the winners of the matches on the show will get Thanksgiving dinner. She wants her wrestlers to be thankful to her, something she says AJ Styles won't do. Dixie introduces Ethan Carter III and for some reason makes a big deal about the two of them being in the ring together for the first time. Ethan comes to the ring. He says that Dixie gave him the go to fly in his next opponent, and that opponent will be the stiffest challenge for him. Ethan points out that no one has beaten him and turns to Dixie so that they can say their lame catchphrase together. Terrible segment because of the mic being in both Spud's hand and Dixie's hand, mostly Dixie's. I guess that Rockstar Spud has to have something to do. Since the X Division exists only when it's convenient for TNA, they have to give Spud something lame to do, and this is it. So then we had Ethan Carter III versus Curryman. Ethan remains undefeated. Why not just have Christopher Daniels come out and face Ethan himself instead of having him dress up in this ridiculous getup again? If TNA just does that, Ethan would be getting the progression that he needs. Daniels' stature won't be hurt by his jobbing out, so the positive out of this would have been steps taken with Ethan, and it probably would have been a better match. Instead, they do that. So then we see Kurt Angle and Gunner backstage. Angle tells Gunner that he appreciates him and James Storm teaming up with him and Magnus. He says that he is targeting Robert Roode and that Storm and Gunner should neutralize anyone who prevents him from doing that. Storm appears and Angle asks him if he's fit to wrestle. Storm confirms that he is and says that despite the problems that exist among them, they have to function as a team or they will lose. Gunner tells Storm that he threw the towel in the ring during Storm's match last week with Roode because he felt he had to do it. And Storm gives him a half-ass acknowledgement and leaves. So then we see the glorified jobbers. And Zema Ion is with them. And he is their new DJ. Eric Young and ODB appear, and Young is carrying turkey suits, which means that I have to put this as short and painless as possible. For some reason, Young is in charge of making a match between the glorified jobbers and the actual jobbers, North Furnham and Dewey Barnes. The losing team will have to put on the turkey suits and do a turkey dance. Yeah. So then we had a women's match. Lady Tapa accompanied by Gail Kim versus Velvet Sky. Why is it that when Gail wrestles solo, Lady Tapa's music and graphics are played first and Gail's is played second, but when Lady Tapa has a solo match and Gail comes out with her, only Tapa's music and graphics are played? Terrible match. The match ends with Velvet coming off the ropes and being tripped by Gail from the outside. The referee sends Gail to the back. Tapa knocks Velvet down with a shoulder block and delivers some kicks. She bashes the back of Velvet's head continuously on the mat. Tapa throws Velvet into the corner, then throws her into the opposite corner. Tapa charges the corner and crushes Velvet, who falls to the mat. She lifts Velvet in the air by her neck, but Velvet counters by kneeing Tapa in the midsection and bringing her chin down against Velvet's head. She kicks Tapa's thigh several times and comes off the ropes, but Tapa catches her with a boot to the face. She picks Velvet up and delivers the fireman's carry cutter for the 3. The winner of the match, Lady Tapa. Tapa still has work to do in order to improve her skills, but putting her in the ring finally will allow her to shake off the green. She will need more matches, but with an extremely limited number of opponents, that will likely result in repeat matches. That's been the state of the women's division for the last several months, and that will continue unless we see new talent arriving. So then we have the match that officially signals the death of the tag team division. The glorified jobbers, Robbie E. and Mr. Duh, versus the actual jobbers, North Furnham and Dewey Barnes. The glorified jobbers win the match in 15 seconds. Zema Ion was likely told that since the X Division will only be featuring names bigger than him when it's convenient, the only lame thing he would be doing is being the DJ for the glorified jobbers and sounding off a ridiculously irritating air horn with a laptop as well as his mouth. A promising young X Division wrestler that has been reduced to this. How far down the tag team division is in the ground depends on whether TNA Creative decides to have their orgasm and put the belts on Furnham and Barnes. If they do, the division will be 12 feet underground instead of being 6 feet underground now. So then we see another video from the Friends of AJ. The video is a compilation of AJ Styles' trips to both Mexico and Japan to make his unauthorized title defenses. Dixie goes into her weekly shriek mode and once again threatens Styles with legal action. She says that he has 1 week to return the TNA World title belt. Okay, let's put aside Dixie's incredible overacting, as well as the fact that she needed to tell us that she has a lot of shoes for no reason. She has already threatened to stop his quote-unquote title defenses with her attorneys, yet Styles continues to book matches. Now she gives him a 1 week ultimatum to return the title. When he ignores that, then what? More shrieking and no improving? So then we see the Extraordinary Gentlemen's Organization backstage along with Chris Sabin. Robert Roode puts over Sabin as well as Christopher Daniels and Kazarian. He of course puts himself over as well, putting down Kurt Angle as he does so. He goes on to talk about almost taking James Storm out last week if it wasn't for Gunner. Kazarian jokes around about the Thanksgiving dinner that they'll get if they win, but Roode keeps it serious by saying that he's going to prove once again why he's better than Angle. So then we see Rockstar Spud arguing with a caterer about the Thanksgiving dinner. Whatever. So then we see Kurt Angle and Magnus backstage. Angle thanks him for being on the team for the match later on. Magnus tells him that although the Main Event Mafia is over with, he still respects him. Magnus brings up their World Title Tournament semifinal next week. Angle says that they're going to beat the crap out of each other and that either himself or Magnus will be world champion. Magnus says that they can worry about that next week and that they should concentrate on the match tonight so that Angle can take care of Robert Roode. So then we have the funeral for Aces and Eights. What was the point of this? It wasn't funny. The attempt at humor was forced. This was a waste of time. Bully Ray appearing at the end tried to salvage this somewhat because everyone acted serious all of a sudden. But it wouldn't be enough. This was dumb. So then we see Rockstar Spud arguing with the caterer again. Whatever. So then we had the 8-man elimination tag team match. The Extraordinary Gentlemen's Organization and Chris Sabin versus Kurt Angle, Magnus, James Storm, and Gunner. Good match. The match ends with Angle being the lone member left on his team in a 4-on-1 situation against the Gentleman and Sabin as he overhead belly-to-bellies Rude. He overhead belly-to-belly Sabin and clotheslines him over the top rope. Angle triple Germans Rude. He triple Germans Daniels. He triple Germans Kazarian. Then as Angle picks Kazarian up off the mat, Kazarian grabs Daniels around the waist and Angle double Germans both Daniels and Kazarian. Sabin comes back in the ring. Angle clotheslines him again and delivers the Angle Slam. He applies the ankle lock on Kazarian. Daniels approaches him, but Angle takes him down and applies a double ankle lock on both Daniels and Kazarian. Rude comes back in the ring with a chair and takes a swing at Angle, but Angle ducks, kicks Rude in the midsection, and delivers the Angle Slam. Then Angle picks up the chair and hits Rude across the back. The referee calls for the bell. The winners of the match by DQ, the Extraordinary Gentlemen's Organization, and Chris Sabin. After the match, Angle hits both Sabin and Daniels with the chair. He turns back to Rude and pops him with the chair across the back again before Rude rolls out of the ring and escapes. Another terrible ending to a good match. There would have been nothing wrong with Angle losing clean to Rude. It would have made much more sense. Angle had to have been exhausted after he went suplex nuts. And Rude could have taken advantage of that. Put the crossface on Angle. Rude's team wins the proper way. What would have been so wrong with that? Now, Magnus's knee injury earlier in the match has already been viewed by some as a ploy to lure Angle in and take advantage of him in their match next week, which would eventually lead to his heel turn. I still think that turning Magnus heel is a mistake. So then we see the Gentleman and Sabin backstage celebrating their win. Rude mentions that he has beaten Kurt Angle for a third time. He turns to the camera and tells Angle that he will never beat him. Then we see Storm and Gunner backstage. Storm is upset about Gunner allowing him to get pinned without doing anything, saying that wasn't the plan. And Gunner asks him what the plan is. They're both asked if they want to accomplish things separately or as a team. And Gunner asks Storm that question, but leaves. Storm says that no one is going to tell them what their goals should be. So the division between Storm and Gunner gradually grows, leading to an eventual heel turn for one of them. Likely Storm, but I think it should be Gunner. A Gunner Storm program would be a better sell if Gunner does the turn. So then we see a video segment documenting the 4 remaining wrestlers in the World Title Tournament: Jeff Hardy, Robert Roode, Kurt Angle, and Magnus. Good video. So then we see Dixie Carter backstage with Rockstar Spud and Ethan Carter III and the Thanksgiving dinner for the winners. Dixie tells Ethan that they're going to get on her jet and go to the ranch to see the relatives, and puts Spud in charge. So then we see Rockstar Spud in the ring with the Thanksgiving dinner laid out in the middle of the ring. He calls out the winners: the Extraordinary Gentlemen's Organization, Chris Sabin, Velvet Sky, Gail Kim, who didn't wrestle, Lady Tapa and the glorified jobbers along with Zema Ion. Rude tells Sabin that Velvet shouldn't be at the table because she lost her match. Sabin agrees and tells her to go. Everyone says what they're thankful for, except for Tapa. And as they're about to eat, Kurt Angle comes out. Angle says that none of them are going to get to enjoy their dinner. Rude says that if Angle wants to take them on by himself, he can do that. Angle says that he would beat Rude's ass if it were one-on-one, but since Rude isn't by himself, he won't be either. Angle is joined by James Storm, Gunner, Eric Young, ODB, Velvet Sky, question mark again, and the actual jobbers in their turkey suits. Then a food fight / brawl breaks out. Velvet puts a pie in Gale's face. Eric Young hits Bad Influence with the turkey. The actual jobbers in their turkey suits splash the glorified jobbers. The faces celebrate in the ring with their beers. Austin Aries is probably relieved that he didn't have to be a part of this. Show ends. Some people have thought that TNA's new creative direction would mean a return to showcasing the 3 divisions that define the company. It's still too early to be definitive about whether that will be the case, but as of the present time, the tag team division is dead, the X division might as well be dead, and the women's division is on life support. The World Heavyweight Championship structure is strong, but the machine can't depend on one main part in order to operate properly. All parts must work in sync. New creative direction, huh? So far, it's a direction slowly turning south. But that can change when TNA decides to change. I'm TazMart 2002, and that was my TNA Impact Analysis for November 28th, 2013. If you're listening to me on YouTube, please leave your comments below. Click the like or dislike button. And if you subscribe, I will really appreciate it. If you're listening to me on the Wrestling News Talk Facebook page, you can leave your comments below and click the like button if you like what I've been saying. If you have any questions or comments for me about TNA or wrestling in general, you can reach me on Twitter, TazMart2002. That's TazMark 2002. And if your comments exceed the 140, get at me with an email. TazMart2002 at gmail.com. And be sure to listen to the TNA Impact review that I do with Chuck P live every Friday morning at 11:30 Eastern Time on Chuck P's channel. I wasn't on last time because I was traveling, but I'll be on next time. And make sure that you check out Chuck P's channel as well. Shit show. The 8-man elimination tag team match could not save this. Shit show. The definition of alternative is not usual or traditional. TNA continues to say that they want to be the alternative, and they are trying. But they need to think about doing this fully, not partially. Just because it was Thanksgiving doesn't mean that TNA had to present the predictable, the obvious, the incredibly bad that was this Thanksgiving show. Be the alternative. Do something that the fans wouldn't expect to see. My idea would have been a delayed broadcast featuring TNA's top wrestlers in Japan facing the talent from Wrestle 1. They can still promote the following week's Impact and show pre-taped, non-bullshit segments to advance storylines, as well as display the Wrestle 1 talent that may appear in TNA in the future. Whether it be that or something similar, it wouldn't be usual. it wouldn't be traditional. And that's the point. Maybe that alternative thought process will be reflected on next year's Thanksgiving show. Maybe. But I wouldn't bet the farm, the farmer's wife, the farmer's daughter. You get it. I'm Tazmart 2002. Gone.